A moment of silence for those who went down with the sub. I was in the Atlantic or the Pacific. It was the Atlantic. Travel tourism to see the Titanic. So please observe, or rather thank you for observing the moment of silence. Now let's get into it. Yes, yes, yes. It's the Raphael Dawkins with the Combat Radio. And we are live. Although I didn't hear the ping. I didn't hear the ping. But nevertheless, let us continue on forward. Let us forge forward with an impromptu show, live show. Boxing talk with Rafi. I don't know what I call this. Dillian Whyte agrees. Dillian Whyte agrees to terms to fight AJ in August the 12th to be precise. Okay, so let's get this thing in order, and then we go to the register. Uno momento, mommy, slow your tempo. Let's get this thing up and popping. Yeah, I got that there. Save that. Show that. Okay. Now we're cooking on gas. Who we got here? We got the John D. Lee and the Ace 1982. That must be his lucky number. How you doing? How you doing, Ace? Okay. So let's bring in the John Daly. The John Daly. How do you do on this fine Saturday evening over here in Middle Earth?
I'm good, Raph. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Not too bad at all.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, it's lovely weather.
It's beautiful weather. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Probably been a couple of months now, pure sunshine. Has it been 2 months yet?
It was a bit wet the other week, wasn't it? We had a bit of storms.
Well, the storms are good because they only lasted for a day.
But overall, it's been pretty warm.
It has been pretty warm. Have you got a dog, John? Have you got a dog?
No, I've got the window open.
Okay. That's next door.
Here.
That's next door neighbours. That's next door neighbours' dog, I take it.
I think it's someone out on the front street, to be honest.
Okay, I got you. So long as you're not involved in any dog fighting ring, John. Come on.
It's a Birmingham tradition, that, right?
It is. I know. Hold on. Let me take a sip of what's in my cup, and it is aqua. I had a little cake as dessert. Little piece of cake as dessert, and I thought, does Rafi pour a little bit of whiskey on that? And I thought, nah, you're going live, and it's been quite sunny, and you've had an energetic day. Don't do it to yourself.
That's a recipe for falling asleep in the chair, Raf.
That's a recipe for falling asleep in the chair, and some content providers have been known to fall asleep in the chair and end up snoring for hours.
It's happened to a few people, though.
Yeah. One cat was notorious for it. They actually gave him a strike for it, actually, funnily enough. Somebody reported him for snoring on his live.
Is that somebody who's always live?
No, he doesn't go live very often these days. He seems to.
No, I was actually talking about his name.
Oh. I shall give the political answer, and I will say yes.
It's all right.
Dawkins, hope you are well.
Right, Raph. I got everything I needed to know from the laugh.
Well, that was the political answer. Okay. The lethal bizzle up in the building. Big up chat and panel. Absolutely. Damn, the Aaron Daly up in here also. How you doing, Aaron? Doing a little impromptu Saturday thing. A few things to talk about. A few things to discuss. But first of all, boxing related, of course. Hello, everyone. But first of all, I got to touch on this thing. It's quite topical. It's about them billionaire cats, them millionaire cats who went down looking for the Titanic in a submarine, the submarine submersible. They call it a submersible that was described as the equivalent of building a car in your shed. OMG. What the hell? What the hell kind of cockamamie idea was that? How are you going to be a millionaire or a billionaire and trust this cat with the new technology? I guess they call it true believer, a true believer. No, it wasn't the pigeon. I've heard from the pigeon since he flew into that lamppost on New Street. OMG. He's still around, apparently. He's still around, causing havoc and mayhem elsewhere, but respecting the sanctity of the RDCR. So he's doing his dirt elsewhere, causing mayhem. So I've heard. But what have you heard about this thing, John? I don't know if you keep in touch with.
I try to avoid the news. I don't really know the ins and outs of it, but this is the trouble with people with too much money.
Yeah.
It's like climbing Mount Everest and then they die.
Yeah. Oh dear.
You've got too much time on your hands. You're bored.
Yeah. I mean, what's his name? The guy. I mean, I like yourself. I don't watch the news these days. Used to watch it avidly as a youngster, as a kid. But I veered away from it in the my early 20s. I thought, hold on a second. No, I'm not listening to their agenda. I'm not listening to their schedule. I'm not listening to what they want me to listen to. I'll pick up news, the pertinent news, as I go along in this journey called life. For example, there was a big thing about the Somali pirates. The made headlines. These Somali pirates robbing ships and all kinds of things. That was the mainstream narrative. But because I didn't listen to the mainstream, I got my sources from elsewhere, non-mainstream, and it turns out that European countries had been sending their toxic rubbish and dumping it out in the traditional fishing grounds that the Somali fishermen would normally fish. And of course, they turned that area toxic with their toxic plastics and their toxic waste, which were illegally dumped. And then the fishermen, not pirates, but the fishermen had to find a different income. Well, they had boats, they had guns. So, hey, that came the Somali fishermen, who they called Somali pirates, because they ruined their livelihood. That's just one example of mainstream media misleading the people. So I don't watch it. But this sub thing that went down to look at the wreckage of the Titanic, ironically, they had the same mentality as the builders of the Titanic, who said, no, it's impossible that this thing could fail. We don't need lifeboats. We don't need lifeboats. And then, so they had no lifeboats, or one or two. And then, what else? The captain captain, the skipper of the ship, was warned, don't proceed on the normal route because it's dark and there's what do you call them, icebergs. There's some icebergs out there in some frozen seas, so do not proceed. But
he actually got hit by an iceberg, right?
That's what sunk it, isn't it? It hit icebergs and
are you talking about the submersible or the Titanic?
No, talking about a Titanic. Talking about a Titanic.
Okay, all right, yeah.
But this thing here.
Sorry, I thought you said the submersible had been hit by an iceberg.
No, the Titanic. But the thing is, it's the same principle because the skipper, that was avoidable. That was an avoidable accident. But the skipper of the Titanic said, no, we'll be okay. Foolhardy.
Well, he was trying to break the transatlantic record, time, wasn't he? For a ship
well, there you go. So safety did not come first, and the same with the skipper of this thing, or the builder of this thing, who was the skipper. Yeah, they used some experimental materials, including fiberglass, and it was there were warnings. There were people who worked on the project who expressed their concerns, and the owner, who was the skipper, who was on board, they pretty much got fired. We know one guy who expressed his concern got fired. And it's not that it can't be done; it has been done. There's other people who have built submersibles that have gone. James Cameron, the director of, I think he was the director of the Terminator series, and was he the director of Titanic? He may have been the director of the film Titanic, and he built a submersible which successfully went twice the depth of this submersible, the ocean, whatever they call it, Ocean Gate. So it's not that you can't build one. It's just that these cats, or this millionaire cat, decided to build one which did not reach the levels of standards, build quality, build materials, etc., that would have got it certified. So it was they self-certified. It was self-certificated. They said to themselves, yeah, it's good enough. Let's go. We're good. Let's go. Off we go. Jolly Japes. Let's go and see the Titanic. So the safety, I think they had some Xbox joystick. It was just, if it wasn't so tragic, it would be laughable. And of course, seems like the thing imploded before it even reached the bottom of the sea. So the damn thing imploded. Weren't concerned with safety aspects. They just went ahead. Yeah, we think it'll be all right. It'll be all right. It has been equated to someone building a car in their shed. Maybe the Bluetooth failed. Yeah, well, I think a number of things failed for sure. He built a video game. Yeah, built a video game and he lived in it. Malcolm Marcel, the Don ZB. I ain't seen the Don ZB around these neck of the woods in a while. Why are you hiding away from the RDCR, Don? Come on now. And the Bruce Gas Boxing and Jazz up in the building. Good to have you all up in here. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that share button. Is there anything you want to say about this topic before we move on, John?
Not really. No, I don't think I've got anything nice to say. So I'm going to follow Granddad's advice.
Well, people have been very harsh to them on social media, apparently. And you know what? It's not nice, but I understand why. It's like, listen, you're a millionaire. You're a billionaire. Another one's a billionaire. I understand the spirit of adventure, but
if they want to waste the money, why can't they, rather than waste the money, use it for
philanthropic?
Yes. Activities.
Well,
if they've got all this money to spare knocking around.
Yeah, it's 200,000 per ticket.
And, someone's chartered to build this piece of junk, which I'm sure costs a lot of money as well.
Well, it was a tourism thing, so it was on the actual build. The actual build was for the company, Ocean Gate. The thing was it was going to be like
Oh,
a
yeah.
it was going to be like
I don't think he'll be going on their tours again.
No, I don't think anybody's going to be booking on Ocean Gate anytime soon.
Something like this, you need to employ proper stress engineers who do the correct calculations. The information's out there. It's like,
thought so.
We've been building submarines in the UK in sort of northwest for a very long time. There's plenty of people.
Technology's there.
Ironically, it's British Aerospace who make our submarines. But ironically, it's British Aerospace that make our submarines, I think.
Okay.
And Barrow-in-Furness, I think there's a big plant up there.
Yeah.
But ultimately, the tolerances that these materials need to have to subject themselves to the amount of pressure that's going to be at the bottom of the ocean, that information exists.
It does.
So, trying to do it on the cheap, it's not really going to work.
Trying to do it on the cheap and have billionaires say, yeah, okay, we'll go. No way in hell, mate. I want to see. Excuse me.
If I had that sort of money knocking around, I think I'd rather try and do something that helps my fellow man, rather than jumping on a exclusive journey to the bottom of the sea.
Yeah, but there's nothing to say they haven't done things to help their
well, I'm not saying they haven't, but 200 grand, you can do quite a bit with that.
You can do a lot with that. You can do a lot with that.
So there's more for that. If they've already got an existing charity or fund or whatever, stick it in that.
Stick it in that.
Yeah. And if they haven't got one, start one.
Well, I say, stick it in that. Stick it in your charitable work. Stick it in your philanthropic acts. But I also say, no, I understand I understand the thrill seeking. I understand the thrill seeking. But if you're doing thrill seeking activities, then at least do some calculations. At least look at the potential for harm. And, going down in a submersible that's untested.
It just reminds me of one of your previous stories, Rafi.
Which one's that?
I know that you've done some calculations on some flotation devices.
At least make sure it's tried and tested. Do you know what I'm saying?
No, that was a bit of thrill seeking as well.
At least the lady with whom gave me that turned out to be an anti-gravity device. At least I think that I'd done my measurements and my calculations. But albeit by the eye test. But don't go to the bottom of the sea in untested experimental apparatus. Don't do it. Apparently, all this shenanigans, all this talk about we're looking for them. It was pretty much a damn charade because no signals had been sent for hours. They're supposed to get a signal back every 15 minutes, and the leaders of this expedition, the absolute leader was actually in the submersible, so he was a true believer too. But the rest of the crew who were on a boat on the ocean, they did not send out the warning signals to the authorities till 8 hours after they received the last signal. They received a signal every 15 minutes, so it was utter shambles. But at least the head guy, he was on it too, so he was a true believer too. But that's not much consolation to the families of the people who have perished in this most regrettable episodes. Ironically, it was the bullheadedness, the pig-headedness of the skipper which reflected the bullheadedness and the pig-headedness of the owners and the skipper of the Titanic. Nothing can go wrong. Well, that's never the case. Something can always go wrong, and something did. And apparently, they didn't even make it to the bottom of the sea before the thing imploded. So there's no bodies to be found, unfortunately. So them are going to be some empty caskets, and it's highly regrettable, but that's what it is. That's how it is. Do your risk assessment. Health and safety rules and laws are there for a reason. So commiserations go out to the families of the deceased. But this was crazy, yo. This whole thing was crazy, yo. But anyway, they gave them a moment of silence, and we've addressed this madness. So let us proceed with the boxing. Okay. So hello and welcome to everybody. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit all those good buttons on this Saturday evening, UK time, 8:15 p.m. What time is it where you are? What time is it in your location? If it's not the UK, go ahead and write that in the chat. Where are we going to start? Where do we begin? Excuse me. I think we're going to begin with the Anthony Joshua, the Dillian Whyte, the Anthony Joshua Dillian Whyte situation. What am I doing? I'm pulling that up, am I? But that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the visuals. Let's get the visuals in. Okay. What's this? Let's get out of the advert. Okay, there we are. Okay, so Dillian Whyte went on Talk Sport. What is this? Yeah, Dillian Whyte went on Talk Sport, and with Spencer Oliver and Simon Jordan, and they asked him some really pressing questions, and I think they backed him up, and they put him in a corner, and they got an answer. Dillian Whyte was talking about, they sent me an offer, and that was it. That was a month ago. We have not spoken until a month ago. Since a month ago. They sent me a 3-line email. With the offer. I haven't heard from them since. But Simon Jordan and Spencer Oliver said, "Well, would you accept? Will you accept the offer? Will you accept the offer?" And then Dillian Whyte said, "Yes." And I said, "Okay. So you are accepted. You are accepted the offer." And then Dillian Whyte said, "Well, yes." I answered that 2 seconds ago. But hold on a second. If the argument was that I haven't heard from them. They sent me a low offer, and I haven't heard from them a month ago, and I haven't heard from them since. Well, if you're Dillian Whyte and you're accepting the offer, then you'd have got back to them and said, "Yeah, give us more details, but yeah, in principle, we accept that figure." But he didn't do that, so he didn't accept the offer. So what's happened now is that with the potential to lose the opportunity altogether. Dillian Whyte, they put it on him on Talk Sport, and Dillian Whyte said, yeah, I'll accept the offer. But cut back to when Eddie Hearn made the offer. Eddie Hearn said, "Well, listen, we've made an offer. We know that Dillian Whyte's going to come back to us and say, well, the offer's too low, and then we'll take it from there." So effectively, Dillian Whyte has taken an offer that he considers to be too low. And Eddie Hearn made an offer that he considered to be, that Dillian Whyte would consider to be too low. But if the offer isn't too low, then why didn't Dillian Whyte get back to him and say, "Yeah, nice offer, we accept it"? So it's kind of confusing there. It's a little bit of confusion there. what do you make of Dillian Whyte accepting the offer 1 month later when he was complaining that they hadn't got back to him? John D. Lee.
Well, I mean, I think it probably is a low offer, but at the same time, I don't think the fight's worth anywhere near what it used to be worth.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not the first time Dillian's turned down the offer.
Mm.
So he was third choice when they booked Wembley in, what was it, 2016?
Yeah. 2015.
Whenever he lost Wendy Ruiz, wasn't it?
Hold on a second. No. The original fight, Joshua
yeah,
fight was in 2015.
Yeah. So then they'd failed negotiations with Wilder, and he ended up fighting Povetkin. As part of those failed negotiations, Shelley Finkel said, "We don't even know where the venue was." So Eddie Hearn booked Wembley for April of the following year. Was it 2019?
Yeah.
They offered it to Wilder. He turned it down. They offered it to Fury. Fury turned it down. Then they offered it to Dillian Whyte. And Dillian Whyte also turned that down to fight that Wembley date.
Right.
So the difference in offer level that they've probably gone back to Dillian with now is going to be astronomical, because I don't see it doing more than the O2.
No.
It's not a stadium fight. I don't think it'll do big pay-per-view numbers. It'd be better off just sticking it on DAZN.
Yeah.
I've given up my DAZN subscription. I'd get it for that. I'm not sure I'd really want to pay a pay-per-view. I'd probably begrudgingly pay a pay-per-view. But I don't think it's really worth it.
Right.
And the way that they do it with DAZN now, if you don't pay for the whole year, you effectively pay the cost of a pay-per-view, and then you get a stream for the rest of the month, don't you?
Yeah.
So if they do that, then yeah, I think people will pay for it, but it's not worth what it was. They've both lost twice since the date that 3 times AJ's lost since then. And Dillian's lost twice, I think.
He's lost to
Fury and Povetkin. Yeah. But those are pretty bad knockout losses as well, both of them. I mean, in Sparko, pretty much.
With Dillian Whyte, yes.
Yeah.
The Iron Kong, our man in the Caribbean. How do you do?
Yeah, we're in the house. They're a bit hot here, but still pushing on, still holding on. A bit hungry though, so I was, about to get something to eat. Then I see on and the John D doing he round off them and whatnot. So I just come on, let me add a 2 cents to the discussion.
Absolutely, 100%. It's nice and warm over here. The heat wave has not stopped. We've had a few nights of rain, but that's good. That's good. Just replenish the earth, cool the thing down a bit, and then the next day, boom, sunny again. It's beautiful. It's been like this for about 2 months. Correct me if I'm wrong, people. Feels like around 2 months. Beautiful.
Well, it's abnormally hot around here, which has spurred on 2 tropical storms back to back. So it's abnormally warm weather right now, and we're expecting a rather active hurricane season. So let's see where this shit goes.
Yeah. Hopefully it's not too drastic. Not too many people get negatively, adversely affected by that. Hopefully it's just some nice rain. And the winds should just stay out on the seas. Have you seen this thing about? Anyway, I talked about that, but yeah. So apparently, Dillian. Well, not apparently. I mean, I watched the damn thing live. Dillian Whyte has said on TalkSport that he would accept the offer that he's had for 1 month. They responded and said it's unacceptably low, but now he's accepted the offer. Eddie Hearn's come back and said, okay, well, I woke up this morning and I saw that Dillian Whyte's now saying he accepts the offer. He had originally emailed us back, his people, and said, no, it's very low. But now since he's accepting the offer, then we're going to send out a contract to him today. Your thoughts and observations, Iron Kong?
Well, that's interesting. I mean, whole kerfuffle, but I really didn't follow up because, I mean, Dillian is a weird guy, right?
Yes.
I don't know if John had mentioned it, but like when the whole Jar Miller thing fell through, Dillian Whyte refused to fight with Anthony Joshua. He's a very strange guy. So this fight comes up, and he's been talking about he wants this fight for, after he beat Jermaine Franklin or whatever. And then when Anthony Joshua fought Jermaine Franklin, well, I should have lost and I would have got the fight and all this blase nonsense. And then when the fight's offered, apparently and it's like, well, they didn't go back and forth with me. They didn't, there was no discussion and whatever. Listen, Dillian Whyte don't have much places to go. Anthony Joshua is probably going to fight in December against Deontay Wilder. If he don't fight Deontay Wilder, he goes fight Hrgovic for the IBF mandatory. He has options because he's Anthony Joshua. Dillian, on the other hand, don't have no options. There ain't no big fights available for Dillian, right? The problem he has with Anthony Joshua, where he got shots, is that Anthony Joshua already knocked you out. You can't talk big stuff to a guy who already knocked you out cold. Like, how you gonna talk big shit to me? Right? I mean, you can't go back and forth with me too much. I already knocked you out, bro. Right? So let's not do this. Is that you taking the fight or you don't taking the fight? I would be interested to know what he's being paid, because I mean, to what he actually wanted. Interested to know, but there ain't no big fights available for Dillian Whyte. Joe Joyce unavailable. Matchroom look like they're not willing to put on the Chisora 3 fight. There's just no fights available. You know what I mean? So, that's just how it goes.
Yeah. One mentally broke, the other physically broke. Fury, a lying steward. Okay, so that's the opening. We're not going to be doing a long thing, folks, so hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the share button. We're not going to take too much out of your Saturday. Okay, so Dillian apparently is accepted. He as a caveat, he did say, yeah, we're going to look at the small print and the whatnot, the little small things, the little auxiliary issues, but he has agreed in principle. I myself, you will both know, I have never been excited about this rematch. I think the heavyweight division has been saturated with rematches, some of them unnecessary. The trilogy that lasted years with Deontay Wilder ducking undisputed, with Joshua, with Tyson Fury ducking undisputed, when they had previously proclaimed that was their goal and aim. So that's been very unfortunate. We had a trilogy with them. Joshua lost to Ruiz, so naturally got a rematch with a rematch clause, so that's fair enough. And then Joshua loses to Usyk, and naturally as the champion, he had a rematch clause. So he fought the rematch with Usyk, although I was very vocal at the time saying, no, you should fight another southpaw in between rather than just going straight back in with Usyk. I like the idea of him fancying Otto Valley, and that could have been contractually problematic. That could have caused some problems in stepping aside. It could have been some rigmarole with getting back in there with Usyk if he had opted to take another fight in between. But I think that's exactly what he should have done, because we saw a marked improvement in the second fight in comparison to the first fight. But then that leads me into something that apparently Carl Froch said. Carl Froch said Joshua didn't want to do the hard runs, and he didn't want to do much sparring for the Usyk 1 fight. And Kong, we'll go with you first on this one. What are your thoughts and observations to Carl Froch's latest utterances on Joshua?
Nothing. I don't like Carl Froch. I think Carl Froch is deep down a bitter individual. Not even deep down. I mean, I just think he's a bitter guy. I think he's disrespectful, and I think he's somewhat racist. Yeah. So I don't have any conversations, any thoughts on Carl Froch. Carl Froch appeals to people who just have an issue with anybody more successful than them, and I don't respect what Carl Froch says. So whatever, him or people like Timothy Bradley, I don't respect it. Timothy Bradley. Before I go, Timothy Bradley is one of the huge God fans, and Lomachenko this and all this other nonsense. Yeah. So. And he refuses to give respect to anybody else who fights Lomachenko and all that. So I don't want to hear that from Timothy Bradley or Carl Froch. Two idiots.
John D. Lee.
Carl, the hate is real Froch. He's been busy defending Tyson Fury as well. I mean,
I never listened to the guy, but carry on.
I can't stand him. I don't believe what he says. He's a complete deluded individual.
Yeah.
It became really apparent after AJ lost to Andy Ruiz the first time. I can remember him talking about AJ going into the rematch and trying to compare himself to AJ and saying that, getting knocked out like that, it's something that could never have ever happened to him. It's like, well, you didn't really fight at heavyweight, did you, Carl? It's not really the same sort of thing. He's just a horrible man. Yeah. I was going to use a different word, but I'll keep it PC.
Could call him a specimen.
No, I don't want to call him a specimen. That can have positive connotations.
Yes, it can.
Yeah. It starts with a C and it ends in a T. That's what he is. I just can't stand him. He's a definite racist.
Yes.
And anyone who's busy defending Tyson Fury at the moment and at the same time slagging off AJ doesn't really have boxing's interests at heart, because it's very clear that AJ has tried to make all these fights and Tyson doesn't want to fight anybody. I mean, if he's moaning about getting a fight, there's plenty of fights there. There's a whole top 15 for the WBC.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to fight Usyk. He clearly never wanted to fight AJ. And yet Froch is busy defending him, giving out snidey supposed background information about AJ in the build up to the first Usyk fight. I mean, for me, I think what AJ's been victim of is concentrating on the big fights when he's got other people in front of him that are dangerous in Andy Ruiz and Usyk.
Yeah.
Don't forget that Usyk fight only happened because negotiations with Tyson Fury failed. He was all caught up in that.
Well, I mean, to me, the story, the background of the story is that McCracken, what's his first name? McCracken.
Rob
McCracken was Froch's trainer. So Froch's statement comes with the notion, the idea that he got it from the horse's mouth. He got it from Rob McCracken. Whether that is true or not, I don't know, but the story seems incongruous anyway, because everybody knew that Usyk was going to be a stiff challenge, and at the very least, a tricky challenge. So everybody knew that. Are you asking me to believe that Anthony Joshua didn't know that? Are you, flat earther Froch, asking me to believe that Anthony Joshua was going to go into a fight that everybody knew was going to be difficult, and he decided that he was going to run less and he was going to spar less? That is entirely incongruous and highly improbable.
There's something I need to add to this, Rafi.
Well, yeah, I need to just finish off though.
Yeah, go on.
Highly improbable and incongruous. It don't, in the simplest English, it don't make no sense whatsoever. And so I find that his utterances on this topic and on most topics, but in particular this topic, highly improbable. This is the type of fight where you'd pull out the stops, you'd look for the angles. So to say he was going to be not doing the hard runs, well, let's call it cardio, not doing the hard cardio, and not applying himself diligently to sparring, I find that highly, highly improbable. You want to say something, John? Then back to Iron Kong.
Yeah. McCracken told Hearn that they thought they'd won after the first Usyk fight. If you listen to the corner throughout, the corner instructions, they're talking as if they're winning the fight, and AJ's following their instructions. If anybody got anything wrong in that fight, it's McCracken got the tactics wrong. Quite simply. And I believe that AJ followed the plan that he was told to do.
Yeah.
And it was a huge miscalculation. And the corner even thought they'd won after the end of the bell. Yes. How deluded they all were. So I think that's the reality of that Usyk fight.
Yeah. Iron Kong, did you want to say something? I thought.
Did I hear you say Froch is a flat earther?
Yes.
Okay.
I rest my case. Yeah, it's just highly improbable. It seems like a cockamamie story. You're not going to go into one of the technically most difficult fights of your career and not apply yourself to the cardio and not apply yourself to the sparring. I find that highly, highly improbable. Reality's voice up in the building. Yes, yes, yes. Uppercut KO in the 5th should be fun. Good to have you up in here. Smash that like button. Yeah, so Froch, no, I never listened to his stuff. I don't want to give him the clicks. I may have to investigate some of it. Just get a little rundown on the stuff that he's saying. So I may have to listen to a few of his interviews, but it would probably make me feel nauseous. Carl Froch is a huge hater out there, but a huge hater particularly of Anthony Joshua. He's an unsavory character. Does he have some racial issues? It's hard to believe he doesn't. He's definitely got a hard on for Anthony Joshua. Does he have some GTBQ or whatever you call it leanings? BB and Q, whatever you call it. Do you have some leanings towards the pink flag? I think you may do. Some guys they just fixate on another guy. You see it in gym sometimes, and you wonder, has this guy got some latent type of feelings and emotions that he cares not to admit to? I think Carl Froch could most likely fall into one of those categories, the GBT, HQ, whatever it is. So yeah, Carl Froch, unsavory character, one of the biggest haters of our time in this boxing game. Timothy Bradley, I think he's on the American broadcast and whatnot. We don't get the American commentary very often. For the most part, we get British commentary, so I don't really have much exposure to Timothy Bradley, so he don't bother me so much because I don't get to hear him. So he don't bother me too much. So that is something we want to touch on. And the Carl Froch, another element to this whole thing. Like I told you folks, we're here for a good time, not a long time. Another element to this whole thing is who would you like to see? Put it in the chat. who would you like to see Anthony Joshua face in August before the fight in Saudi Arabia, speculated to be with Deontay Wilder, the Iron Kong? Who would you like to see fighting? Pick anybody in August.
I think this fight's fine. I mean, it's not a big fight. It's not no super. I mean, it's a fight I'll watch, but there's literally no fight Anthony Joshua could fight right now in the middle that you're gonna care about, because he's fought almost all the top heavyweights. He's already fought them. So there's really nobody else that would care about, at the very least, in this fight. The build-up is gonna be great because Dillian Whyte is gonna get under Anthony Joshua's skin.
Yeah.
And so this fight is great for me. Just you fight each other, because I mean, there's really no one else that I care about that's available to fight, to be honest.
What about FA Jagba? That's my pick.
Bro, is FA even still fighting?
Yeah, he had a fight a few months back.
I didn't even know that. I didn't even know FA still fighting.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess, but I mean, you bring FA Jagba to would FA Jagba than Dillian Whyte?
Say that again?
Would he move more tickets than Dillian Whyte?
Perhaps not.
Nah, but I mean, yeah. I mean, I guess we're talking from a fan's perspective, so we're not talking from a fan perspective.
Yeah,
I think this fight, because I mean, just for the trash talk alone, this gonna be great for me. I mean, it's gonna be great IFL and boxing social, content for me to watch on my job and laugh at. To watch Anthony Joshua get real pissed off. Dillian Whyte just run his mouth a lot, and it's gonna be great for me.
Yeah.
But if it will practice for a while, but it's not gonna be fun in terms of the build-up. It's not gonna be great.
No, it won't. John D. Lee.
Hey, Rafi, peace out, man. John, peace out.
Hey, appreciate it. That was the Iron Kong, man in the Caribbean. Same question to you, John.
Well, I mean, my number one pick, I think, definitely is inactive, which should be Gerald Washington.
Oh dear.
Because I just think he needs a good knockout.
Yeah.
He needs to believe in his power again. I think FA Jabba is pretty much the best preparation out there for Wilder. Because his dimensions are right.
Yep.
His skill level's probably marginally better, but there's not that much in it.
Yeah.
And he's got a decent right hand, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think from that point of view, definitely. I think I don't know if it's an easy fight to make.
No.
Which is a problem. So, failing that, I'd go for Hrgovic.
Yeah.
Because you make yourself IBF Mando.
Yeah.
How much benefit there is in that for him, I'm not too sure. But Hrgovic is a big lump. Dimensionally, he's right. He's just a bit slow compared to Wilder.
Yeah.
He doesn't really prepare for Wilder's speed. However, he's still someone who's long that you need to try and work out how you're going to get inside on. Or at least you can practice doing that, which is what he's going to need to do to fight Wilder. And you need to do it in a defensive, responsible fashion.
For real.
So I don't think Dillian gives you any of that sort of practice.
Yeah. I really wish it could be FA, because he's the best preparation for Wilder out there.
He's perfect. I mean, he is as close to Wilder as you can get.
Yes, and also on a visual basis, the visuals would be crazy, because he even looks like Wilder. Physically, they're almost identical. Style-wise, very, very similar. So that would be the perfect one. I don't know if Eddie Hearn's been listening to the show lately, but it'd be a shame if they haven't been trying with FA. But hey.
I mean, he's got a listed longer reach as well.
There you go.
He's actually listed as an 85-inch reach.
Oh, perfect. He'd be a perfect warm-up. Well, I don't want to say warm-up because he's still dangerous, but it'd be the perfect preparation for a Deontay Wilder fight. But hey, I know if Eddie ain't listening to the Rafi, then that's on him. That's his problem. So there's that element. What other elements are we looking at? So it looks like it's going to be Dillian Whyte. It looks like it's going to be Dillian Whyte in August. What else is on my list?
Did you not have the Wilder Offin Ruiz on your list?
Oh yeah, that is on the list. Where is it? Did I write it down? Wilder offer to Andy Ruiz. Yeah, that's on the list. Right now I forgot something. Hold on. Froch's on the list. Done that. Wilder.
I'm not sure his tendencies are that latent, Rafi. I think it's more that he's got a keen fondness for Tyson Fury there.
Yeah, well, Carl Froch, he's just not really a cat that I jive with in any way, shape, manner, or form. Don't like the cat. Think he's got issues. The latest score with Dinosaurus Ortiz's wig. Hey, it's one of the best hair pieces that I've seen. One of the best hair pieces that I've seen. That's some great creative work. Everybody agrees with me, but hey, the way that wig moved with the knockout of Deontay Wilder, and Deontay Wilder took him out. Yo, come on now. Yeah, what was he saying? What's the last thing? What was the last thing we just mentioned? Oh yeah, Deontay Wilder has apparently. Hold on, I got this. I actually have the article. Do I not? Let me pull this up. Where is it? Boom. Is the computer slow today? Come on now. Where is it? Dillian Whyte, Deontay. Yeah, there we are. Okay, so let me share that on my screen. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so Deontay Wilder sends a hell of an offer to heavyweight rival for next fight. Time's up. Okay, so apparently Wilder has sent an offer. What is this on Instagram? Let's see if we can we hear this? Can we see this? Can we hear this? Can we see this? It's going to take me to a different window. So let's stop sharing that and let's go to the new window. Let's see. There it is. Is it audio? Is that on the screen? Is this audio? Let's get the size up. Okay.
In the same motherfucking place at the same.
What the hell? Time's up. Okay. So Malik Scott writes, we're doing our part and we sent you a hell of an offer. The ball is in your court now. Let's get it signed and sealed. Okay, folks. Looks like it might be legit. Looks like an offer may have been sent to Andreas the Punch Ruiz. Andreas the Punch Ruiz going through some issues. He left his longtime girlfriend, and she apparently is suing her for stealing some of his expensive jewelry that he got from the Joshua money. So he might have some similar issues going on, like Teofimo Lopez. He looks like his next big battle is going to be in court. So will Andreas the Punch Ruiz, will he motivate himself to take this fight? Me, what do I think? I think no. I think Ruiz is just living off that Joshua money. Fair enough. He did make some investments. He did build some houses. And he has curtailed his spending on the luxury cars. So, his father might talk some sense into him, and he realizes that money's going to have to last him for a long, long time, because I don't see any big purses, super big purses coming his way like he got with facing Joshua. So it'd be interesting to know how much they've offered Andy Ruiz, because obviously it's got to be appetizing to Ruiz. You know, Ruiz is a man with a big belly and a big appetite, so it's going to need some big numbers to tempt him. John D. Lee, what are your thoughts on that?
You know, I think the fight will probably happen, to be honest.
Wow. Talk me through that.
Just because if he doesn't take this fight, he needs to retire. And also, when there's an offer made between Al Haymon fighters, it normally happens.
Well, it didn't happen. It didn't happen though. It didn't happen because they were mandated to fight for the WBC.
That was by the WBC, but no offer was actually made, was it?
Okay.
So once you actually get to a point, if there is a real, genuine offer being made within the Al Haymon stable, it normally means it's a formality and the fight will happen.
That's interesting.
I've never seen two Haymon fighters scheduled to fight each other and it fall apart. And I think a lot of it is because Al Haymon potentially controls their money more than people realise. I mean, there's been a lot of talk about it, hasn't there?
Yeah.
And how often on the Haymon side, when Wilder's actually offered somebody, have they turned it down? If it's a Haymon fighter.
Is Ruiz still a Haymon fighter?
I believe he is, yeah.
Okay.
Because people have tried to sign him, haven't they? And Andy came back out and said that he was still with Al Haymon.
Yeah. Well,
so
hey.
Just based on that, what I think they've managed to do is Al Haymon advised fighters have managed to get some funding for fights from Saudi. Which potentially, if it means we get other fights involving Haymon, it could be a good thing.
Yeah, it could be a good thing. I don't have a problem with that. So
that's why I think it will happen, because if Al wants one of his fighters to fight someone within his own stable, it happens.
Wilder will duck. Wilder always ducks anyone with a pulse. So it's Wilder's making the offer, though. The offer's coming from Wilder's side.
Well, does Ruiz really look that dominant against Ortiz, and didn't the other Mexican guy? What's his name?
Arreola.
Yeah, Arreola put him down. I very much doubt that Wilder's scared of him. I mean, ultimately, the interesting thing will be is if Wilder can actually put him away. Because he's been down twice, but he's never actually been stopped. But I don't really see Andy's lack of foot speed troubling Wilder. Because Wilder is a quick person.
Yeah.
As ganglion, as terrible as he is, I think Andy's feet are so slow he can't really put Wilder on the back foot.
Yeah. I still think that. Listen, if that fight happens, I'd be very happy. It'll be happening, but it's crazy to me that Wilder.
Normally, what's happened is Wilder hasn't wanted to know, has he?
It's crazy to me that Wilder would take that fight before the Joshua fight. So that to me is, hold on, that to me says extreme confidence in Wilder. Wilder is extremely confident that he take Ruiz apart. That's fascinating to me, because I still can see Ruiz doing a little bob and weave and coming in and connecting hard on Wilder's chin. I don't know, call me crazy, but I see Ruiz as a dangerous opponent for Wilder. But then counteract that, you say, well, he wasn't all that dangerous to Arreola, and he wasn't all that but he put Ortiz down a couple of times, but didn't starch him. I don't know, call me crazy, but I still see that fight as potentially problematic to Deontay Wilder, but clearly Deontay Wilder and his people don't think so. So hey, let the music play. Let's go. Let's have it.
Well, the thing there, Raf, is I think they don't know boxing very well.
Who?
Because they were Wilder's advisors.
Dang.
Because look at how they got mugged by Fury when they thought they were getting the stuff to try.
Yeah, that was dumb.
So, you know, Al Heyman's not a boxing guy, is he?
No. Music guy.
And everybody else that Wilder surrounds himself with are yes men. The only sensible person that he had in his corner was Mark Breland, and he sacked him.
You got rid of him.
Everybody else just gassed Wilder up.
Mm. Well, hold on.
They tell him he's the hardest puncher in the world because he's knocked out a load of bums that other people had already knocked out.
Hold on. So which fight, 1, 2, or 3 v Fury, was Wilder's best performance?
1.
Yeah, I'd say so. And that was under Breland.
Well, 2 were under Breland. Breland threw the towel in the second one, didn't he?
Oh yeah. So his best performance and his worst performance against Fury was under Breland.
But what you've got to remember is Mark Breland wasn't the head trainer, was he?
No, he wasn't.
That Zumba teacher or whatever he is.
Yeah, JD's.
What's JD? Who is JD's? Is still there as well, isn't he?
Well, he's always going to be there because he's got a management share in Wilder, so he's still the manager or one of the managers.
When it comes down to the actual fight making and matchmaking, I think they actually genuinely believe in Wilder's power. But when you actually break it down and you look at what he's done with it, out of all the opponents Wilder's knocked out, how many of them go 12 rounds with Vlad? I mean, to tell me that he's got, better power than anybody in the history of the world because he's been so carefully managed at fighting knockover jobs. Yeah. Ludicrous.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think they believe it, though.
Well, that's true. But then sometimes a lie becomes the truth, arguably.
Well, hold on. Your point about Andy Ruiz, I think he is a danger if he gets inside on him. Which is nuts because he's got slow feet. But I think they'd be overly confident that Andy is not a risk and that they would take the fight.
I think they're underestimating him, or I'm overestimating him. But the fight will happen, hopefully, and we'll find out. But I think sometimes a lie becomes the truth. Sometimes, because if Wilder's been fighting all of these, for the most part, low-ranking fighters, for the most part, almost exclusively until the last year or two, last couple of years. So he's been fighting these low-skilled fighters for the most part. But the counter argument is that has allowed him to refine and hone his knockout skills. So if you're fighting average to mediocre fighters for almost the entirety of your career, but you've refined your one special tool, which is the big right hand, is there not an argument to say that when you go up to the highest levels, the fact that you've spent so much sharpening your sharpest tool, is there not an argument to say that you can do it at the highest level too?
Well, it didn't work against Tyson Fury, did it?
But it kind of did, though, because I mean that knockout at the end of the 12th, to me, that any other referee would have ruled that's a knockout.
If that's in the UK, it's a knockout. But in America, I've seen that. In America, which is where he's always fought, it's very common for people to be given the full count to get up and recover. Yeah,
to me, that was a knockout. Even though Fury got back up.
Either way,
even in America, with most referees not named Jack Reese, I think that would have been called a knockout. Even he wouldn't have even gone the full count because it looked like Tyson Fury was out. So they'd have counted up to 3 and waved it off with a referee.
In the UK, that is definitely a knockout. But I mean, the record books show that it wasn't. So
Well, what I'm saying is
that fights where he's put more stiffs in between, he hasn't been able to knock out Fury. And my argument is, it's because he actually doesn't hit as hard as he thinks he does.
Well, my argument is that any other referee not named Jack Reese would most likely have called that a knockout. Now, if hold on. Now, if that did happen and it was called a knockout, I don't think there'd have been a rematch. And that could have changed history. Or maybe they would, because he said, I'll knock you out once, I can knock you out again. Maybe. But if that was ruled a knockout, which personally I think it was, then that would have been a very, very interesting situation. Now, the topic is Wilder's power. Is it real? Well, he dropped Tyson Fury 2 times in the first fight, I think, and 2 times in the third fight. Fury kept on getting up, but I don't know how many other people get up. So that's going to be interesting. I would love to see this fight with Ruiz. That would be very telling. I hope it happens. I don't think it's going to happen, but if your hypothesis proves correct, that would be absolutely brilliant. But yeah, I think Wilder hits hard. How hard? Yet to be determined.
Well, it's not that he doesn't hit hard, Raf. It's the level of hardness. So another example is Bermain Stavern. How many fights did he have fighting absolute tin cans going into that fight?
Yeah, well, pretty much.
He was through 30 fights, I think. When he fought Stavern, I think he had more fights than AJ's got now. And he didn't knock him out the first time either.
That's interesting.
And when you look at other things as well, like Drew Haupers, who's got cleaned on numerous occasions, stopped on his feet against Wilder and never looked like going down. He wasn't going to win the fight, but he never looked like going down.
That's interesting. But like I said, sometimes a lie becomes a truth. A lie becomes a truth because if Deontay Wilder believes that he's the hardest puncher in the history of heavyweights, sometimes a lie becomes a truth because sometimes all you need to do is believe.
Well, I can go along with that. But we'll see anyway, because I do think if he actually puts Andy Ruiz away and knocks in Sparko, he will convince me a lot more than he has so far. Because if you go through Wilder's opponents, I think the only one who'd never been knocked out before that he's knocked out is Ortiz, who's fought even worse opposition than him. Nearly everybody else that he's fought has already been knocked out.
And he knocked Ortiz out Sparko the second time around.
Yeah, he's the only one. But look at the opposition that Ortiz has fought.
Yeah.
And Ortiz is actually a cruiserweight. When he was in the amateurs, he fought at the amateur heavyweight. So, like, you go through Ortiz's record, it's actually worse than Wilder's. So, and how old is he?
Ortiz.
Yeah.
He's 52.
Well, your chin doesn't age well, does it, Raf?
No.
Nobody's chin ages well.
No.
So, if you look at what he's actually knocked out, apart from Ortiz, everybody else has been knocked out before.
That's interesting. Some interesting arguments on both sides of the fence. One argument is he's overrated. The other argument to me is sometimes a lie becomes a truth.
Well, yeah.
Sometimes a lie becomes a truth.
Obviously, he can knock a man out, which does require a level of power. He's not feather-fisted.
No.
But I'm not convinced he's the heaviest puncher he's ever been the heaviest puncher when he's been a professional.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's there.
I think Vlad hit harder.
Yeah.
I think there's other boxers today that potentially hit harder as well.
Vlad hits harder. Mike Tyson hit harder. Lennox Lewis could hit harder.
I mean, like Sonny Liston, lots of people hit hard. I mean, Bruno's power is seriously underrated because Bruno has crazy power.
Bruno, George Foreman. So there's lots of people in the history of, when I say a lie becomes the truth, I don't mean him being the heaviest
I
hitter.
understand what you're saying. Is you believing in your own myth gives you that confidence to go out and execute.
Yeah,
Which there's an argument for it, but then what? But then you can have it shattered when it doesn't work.
Well, there you go. I mean, let's see it shattered then. Let's see.
Yeah. But
let's
I mean,
shattered.
But that lie becomes the truth makes it more likely to me that they would take on Andy Ruiz and underestimate him, which was the point. And he's got horribly slow feet. I can see him never getting in range of Wilder.
Yeah. That's entirely possible. But I would still be very happy to see Wilder versus Ruiz.
Well, it's a new fight. It's actually what we've been, the point of a large part of what you've been saying, isn't it? Heavyweight division, we're bored of seeing the same thing rerun all the time. Too many. But it's a good fight.
Yeah, it's a new fight. We'd love to see it. And I don't think there's anything else to cover on this particular subject. And I told you, folks, it was going to be, we're not here for a long time. We're here for a good time. And I think we've done it. I think we've completed the mission. Dillian Whyte agrees terms to fight Anthony Joshua in August. So let's have it then. Let's have it. If that's what it's going to be, so be it. I'd have preferred FA Jagba. John Daly would have preferred Hrgovic.
But to be honest with you, Raf, I'd prefer FA over Hrgovic, but I don't see it a fight that's very easy to make with Hrgovic.
Not easy to make, and time is limited. But we've done it. A little Saturday treat for the RDCR collective. John Daly, thanks for joining me. And your final words, please.
We've done it, Raf. Thanks for having me on.
Marveloso. Okay. And there you have it. Not much left to say. Just wanted to give you a quick update on this beautiful Saturday. Beautiful weather over here in Middle Earth. We've done it. Thanks for joining me. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that share button. Don't be selfish. Okay. And thanks to our man in the Caribbean for jumping on. That was the Iron Kong. Of course, the John D. Lee. And me, myself, Raphael Dawkins, the Combat Radio. It's the like, it's the subscribe, it's the comments, it's the shares. And it is the hitting the bell icon to stay updated with news and notifications. And don't forget about the live show. Don't forget about the videos. It's Raphael Dawkins. We are out. Blessed.